Dear Mayor and Vice Mayor and the City Council.
Chúng tôi sẽ đấu tranh bảo vệ họ cho ông khán
We are fighting for the EDU and the amnesty program.
Tại vì cái tình ông khán với anh Việt rất có đọc cho những nhà.
So the amnesty program is very good for the homeowner.
Có lợi ích cho
For the homeowner. The IDU. And it helps the resident a lot of money. Because said, don't worry, not worry much. And the citizen, the resident, they know that it's a good program, so they continue to build more EDU. And one more time, we request that to the City Council to pass that ordinance as fast as possible, as quick as possible.
Next speakers, Phúc Giang.
Phúc Giang.
Thưa kính chào quý vị dân cử
The City Council member
tham dự ngày hôm nay.
and all the people that are in the meeting today.
Tôi là Phúc Giang.
My name is Phúc Giang.
Tôi ủng hộ chương trình xây nhà phụ trợ và chương trình ân xá.
I agree and to the program that the amnesty program and the EDU program.
Thành phố Westminster đang là một thành phố phát triển mạnh.
City of Westminster is a big growing city.
Hàng năm có rất nhiều cư dân ở các tiểu bang khác về đây.
Every year, a lot of people from all different states that came to this city.
Tôi yêu thành phố Westminster rất nhiều.
I love the city of Westminster very much.
Nếu mà thành phố Westminster được thông qua hai chương trình xây nhà phụ trợ và chương trình ân xá,
If the city of Westminster will pass the law regarding the amnesty program and the building additional building,
thì trong gia đình sẽ có chỗ rộng rãi để cho con cái có cơ hội vui sống thoải mái.
so all our family will have a bigger room to grow and happier family life.
Và những người mẹ mà không có bị vướng bận con chở con đi học đó, không có cơ hội để đi ra ngoài xã hội làm việc.
And all the mothers that don't have a chance to go out to work because they're busy with the kids.
Thì có thể cho mướn để có thêm lợi.
So they can rent out the room and have more additional income.
Để nuôi dưỡng con cái cho thành người tốt.
To raise the kid into a better person.
Nên chương trình này rất là tốt và
This
thích
program
hợp
is very good and
thích hợp cho cư dân
for
thành
the
phố
citizen.
Westminster.
So the citizen of Westminster.
Xin cảm ơn quý vị.
Thank you very much.
Next speaker is John Nguyễn.
Cảnh Nguyễn.
Xin kính chào quý vị.
Hello to the city council member
Yes, everybody.
and everybody.
Tôi tới đây để tôi ủng hộ cho chương trình xây
I
cất
came
nhà
here
cho
to say I am helping out
ủng hộ cho chương trình xây cất nhà phụ trợ và chương trình ân xá cho những người xây cất
I am pro of
công hợp pháp.
the program of amnesty and the building for the low income people.
I think tôi nghĩ là đây là một chương trình rất là có lợi
I think
cho
it
tất
is a
cả mọi người.
very good program for everybody.
cống hiến cho cho mọi người cư dân và cho cả chính quyền ở tại thành phố này.
Not only for the citizen, but for the government of the city.
Những người không có nhà,
Those homeless.
khi mà xây thêm nhà phụ trợ, tức là chúng ta có nhiều nhà, lúc đó
We have more homes.
lúc đó những người đi thuê nhà sẽ được thuê nhà giá rẻ hơn, bởi vì có nhiều nhà chúng ta sẽ lựa được những nhà giá rẻ hơn.
So it could
Những
get
người
a better price.
những người có nhà thì sẽ có thêm nơi để cư trú cho con cái sau này một thêm nhiều.
The people with a house can have more room for the kids or the people to live in.
Đây là một thành phố tốt đẹp và mọi người đều muốn trở về đây. Thành phố càng ngày càng đông thêm, chúng ta phải cần càng thêm nhà để cho mọi người ở.
Everybody want to come here. Everybody want to come back here. We need more house for people to live.
Riêng về chính quyền thì thành phố sẽ thu thêm về thuế.
So they get receive more tax income from the tax.
Để có thêm tiền để mà sinh hoạt.
So they got more money for all the activity.
Thành phố này là một thành phố tôi yêu và từ ngày tôi tới đây là tôi vẫn ở đây 20 mấy năm trời rồi. Thành phố này chỉ có một tên, đó là tên Westminster. Tôi không thích có một tên nào khác.
This is the city that I love.
Next speaker is Terry LeBeau.
As you know, I want to talk about this today. First of all, our group had a meeting with the floor of the council, and I want to thank you for that meeting. I really enjoyed talking to you on it. I know I had difficulty getting meetings on our group. We would like to get possible to put on the agenda on August 14th. The reason why is we feel we're ready to get on rent stabilization in Westminster. I want to prove that Westminster is truly an all-American city. We are basically low income. Okay. If you saw the increases in rent in Westminster, you will be flabbergasted. One of them is $1,700. To get into that mobile park, you have to at least make $45,000 to get in that park. And right now, they're trying to make leasing. If you look at some of those leasing agreements, they want 5%. The average park is maybe controlled by 3 individuals. If you saw what they made at the end of the year, you'd be flabbergasted. They always say, well, we won't make our income. How come there's 110 communities in the state of California that have parts of rent stabilization, and you have not heard any of them say that they're losing money? So, please, I want each one of you that I talk to, please put it on the agenda on August 14th. We would appreciate it, sir, and I'd like to say that Westminster is an all-American city. Thank you for your listening to me, and have a wonderful evening.
Next speaker is Long Nguyen.
Long Nguyễn. This is the first time.
Tôi ở đây kinh doanh 2 năm rồi.
I live over here more than 2 years already. And I see
Rất là tốt.
this city is very good.
Tôi ủng hộ cái
So I am an advocate. The ordinance DNIU.
dạ, tôi đồng ý. Cảm ơn. Ở đây cũng có một lần rất
time we marry is a surprise.
Thì kiểu ít thân đang thích ăn một đến nhà cho con.
He made take the food to the house for me by himself.
Dạ. Cảm ơn.
And I thank you, this city, and
Cái gì thầy?
that's it.
Dạ.
Next speaker is Dow Nguyen.
Now, my name is Paul Dòng. I live as resident in the city of Westminster. I'm getting older and older. I don't want to leave this city, but I want my kid to stay in here. I advocate this program, ADU. And these amnesty program, the illegal program. So I love this city. Besides this, I want this city, Westminster, no other name. Thank you. Đỗ đặng đỗ. Bà đỗ bà nhưng là đỗ.
Kính chào quý vị chủ tịch, chủ tọa đàm và các quý vị điều hành trong buổi họp, cũng như quý vị khán giả.
Hello, the mayor, the vice mayor, and council member, and everybody in the meeting.
Tôi Đỗ Bản,
My name is Đỗ Bang,
một cư dân thành phố Westminster.
the resident of the city of Westminster.
Theo nhận xét của tôi,
According to my observation,
thành phố Westminster là thành phố đang phát triển về kinh tế và thương mại.
the city of Westminster is a city we're growing in the economic and commercial,
Do đó con người cũng phát triển.
so that the people also growing.
Còn mặt bằng thành phố Westminster thì vẫn như vậy thôi.
And the area of Westminster is the same.
Do đó cái chương trình phát triển ADU rất cần thiết cho cư dân.
So the program of ADU is very necessary for the citizen.
Nếu không có thì rất số người vô gia cư sẽ rất nhiều lên. Xin cảm ơn.
So if without that, the homeless will be a lot more. We growing more. Tuấn Trần, đi gọi Tiến Trần.
Kính chào thị trưởng, phó thị trưởng và quý vị cao sở.
To the mayor, my vice mayor, and the council member.
Tôi là Trần Minh Tiến.
My name is Trần Minh Thiên.
Tôi là cư dân của thành phố Westminster.
I'm a resident of city of Westminster.
Tôi hoàn toàn đồng ý với tất cả những ý kiến của quý vị đã phát biểu trước đây.
I agree to all the comment that the people have spoke before this.
Nghĩa là tôi ủng hộ cái chương trình ADU và chương trình ân xá cho những người đã xây cất bất hợp pháp.
I'm advocate to the program ADU and the amnesty program for the people already building illegal house.
Mà tôi cũng nhận thấy có những nghịch lý là bởi vì thành phố có những căn nhà là trên cả chục ngàn square feet, thế nhưng chỉ cách những căn nhà chỉ có 2.000 square feet, còn bất cư rất là nhiều, và trong khi đó người vô gia cư thì quá nhiều, quá đông.
I saw some very very unreasonable that there is a house that it's a big house, 10,000 square feet, and some house for 2,000 square feet.
Tôi nói là khu đất có thể là cả 1.000, 10.000 square feet, nhưng mà căn nhà chỉ chiếm có chỉ 1-2.000 square feet, đất tư còn rất nhiều.
The land area, sometimes the land area is about 10,000 square feet, and the house only 2,000 square feet, so there are a lot of empty land in the house.
Trong khi người thiếu nhà thì
So that
quá đông.
the people that need the houses, a lot of people that need the housing area.
Cho nên tôi hoàn toàn ủng hộ chương trình EDU.
So I completely advocate for the program ADU.
Xin quý vị xét và chấp nhận cho cái ý kiến của chúng tôi.
Please look into it and approve our idea.
Dạ, kính chào quý vị.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Hung Vu.
Người kế tên là Hùng Vũ.
Kính thưa vị trưởng, kính thưa bà phó thị trưởng và các nghị viên,
To the mayor and the vice mayor and the council member
cùng các vị hiện diện ngày hôm nay.
and everybody meet in the meeting today.
Tôi tên là Vũ Hùng,
My name is Vũ Hùng.
là cư dân của Westminster,
I'm the resident of Westminster,
tức là tôi có đi bầu.
so I did vote.
Tôi rất mừng là khi có một cái chương trình ân xá cho những cái illegal construction.
I'm very glad that there is a program for the amnesty for the illegal building.
Như vậy là cái chương trình ân xá này sẽ giúp cho mình có thể kiểm soát được cái an toàn của những cái ngôi nhà đã xây
This
bất khả
amnesty program will help the safety of the program that will the housing that we're building illegal.
và cái chương trình ADU
And the ADU program
nó rất là tốt bởi vì
is very good because
cái giá nhà ở Westminster, cái thành phố thì đang phát triển
the housing price of Westminster, because the city is growing,
và mọi người rất là đông, mọi người các tiểu bang khác muốn đến đây ở.
and a lot of people from different cities, different area want to come here and live.
Nhưng mà ngay cả những cái em học sinh tốt nghiệp đại học vì cái giá nhà quá cao nên họ phải đi ra khỏi cái thành phố này.
And a lot of students, even they graduate from school and they become the housing price so high, and they can't afford to live here, try to leave the area.
Chúng tôi muốn là vì vậy là mình sẽ tạo thêm những cái căn nhà
We are create more house,
và khi cái giá tiền thuê nhà và cái giá nhà nó sẽ hạ xuống.
and so the price of the rental and the housing price will going down.
Để người ta có thể có khả năng mua nhà, ngay cả những sinh viên mới tốt nghiệp đại học.
So they can afford to buy the house, even the students that graduate from school.
I fully support amnesty program and ADU program. Please pass and approve two agenda for the city of Westminster. Thank you very much.
You know when?
Chào thị trưởng và phó thị trưởng và
Hello, Mr. Mayor, the council member, and the vice mayor,
các đồng nghiệp ở đây.
and everybody that's in here.
Rất ủng hộ
I'm
hai cái
support
chương trình.
the two programs.
Thứ nhất là cái chương
The
trình này
first, this program,
để cho người dân được dồi dào thêm cái người vào cái Westminster này.
so the citizen got more people that can here in here to live in the city of Westminster.
rất là nhiều người rất thích cái Westminster này.
A lot of people like the city of Westminster,
Nhưng không có cơ hội vì cái giá
but they don't have the opportunity because the housing price is so high.
Dạ, thành thử ra Sơn Nam là một cái family mà không có đủ khả năng, không có đủ phòng, thành ra là tôi ủng hộ cái xây dựng thêm để cho con cháu và family phải gần lại với nhau.
So sometimes family that they cannot afford to live together in one room, so they have support the program building additional room so that we can all stay together.
Và cái chương trình xây bất hợp pháp.
And the program that the illegal building,
Mong rằng các nghị viên ở đây
I wish you council member
sẽ thông qua
will pass
cái chương trình này
this
để
program
cho dân chúng ở Westminster
so the citizen of Westminster
có được một cái income
so they can have one income
và có một cái family ở gần đến với nhau.
and they have a family can stay together. And
Tại vì
I will. Hello everybody. Council member and everybody.
Tôi nhận thấy là hai cái chương trình,
I see that the two program,
một chương trình nhất là ân xá của chương
the
trình
first program, the embassy program, and the second program, ABU is very marvelous for the city of Westminster.
tôi nhận thấy là cái giá nhà ở Việt Nam ở bên Westminster này nó quá cao,
I see the price of the housing in Westminster is so high.
và rent cũng là quá cao đối với những người chẳng hạn như tôi cũng như là tôi mới được vô Việt Nam cách đây 1 tháng, thì cái tiền mà Việt Nam của tôi đó 1 tháng nó chỉ có 200 bạc thôi.
And the price of the rental also very high. So for instance, I'm retiring, I just retired a couple months ago, and my income only about $700 a month.
Yeah, nhưng mà khi mà tôi qua tôi muốn mướn là cái apartment có 1.000 mấy đồng bạc, tôi vẫn qua đây không cách nào tôi mướn được.
But I want to try to rent the apartment, and it's got more than $1,000, and I cannot afford it. I cannot rent it.
Từ trong đó tôi phải đi tìm kiếm những cái căn nhà nó rẻ để share vào để mà có cuộc sống ở Westminster này.
So that I have to look for the house that have room to share. I have to share the room so that I can afford to stay in the city of Westminster.
Và tôi nhận thấy là theo hai cái chương trình đưa ra này là rất là tuyệt vời đối với những người như chúng tôi.
So I see that the two programs you guys propose is very marvelous for us, like for the person like us.
Cái thứ nhất là cái thứ hai nữa là
And the second thing is
gia đình của những người như chúng tôi có thể họp lại chung với nhau một đại gia đình lớn để sống ở với nhau.
so like our family, like we can all get together, live together in one house in the city of Westminster.
Về thành thử là tôi có cái ý kiến là please
So I have a comment, please
have the people who don't have the money to pay for that, please.
help the people who don't have money to pay for the rent, please.
Thank you.
Thank you. Lena with.
There's different. We have another Lena.
Good afternoon, Major. Good afternoon, Vice Major. And good afternoon, Council. And I'm here today to support the ABU program. And I hope the city will approve for ABU program. ABU program is very helpful and solve problem, homeless, and enterprise the individuals. And I would like to thank you, Westminster. She opened the two seminar and explained about ABU for the people in Westminster understand about ABU. And I hope that City Westminster will approve ABU for the people living in Westminster City. Thank you very much.
Trần cư Trần. Cư hoặc là cự hay là gì Trần hoặc Trần.
First name May, last name Tunnu. I apologize for not.
Lấy trường.
Thưa ông thủ trưởng và
Being a mayor
phố,
and a city council member.
đây là mấy phụ nữ đã cư dân vào đây đã 20 mấy năm.
My name is May the May Gom Nữ. I am the resident in this city for more than 20 years.
Từ trước đến giờ có nhiều thị trường mà có nhiều quý vị đã chứng kiến, quý vị đã làm đấy. Tôi chưa có thấy bao giờ mà tôi được nói tiếng Việt với họ và có những cái chương trình đặc biệt cho cư dân như hiện giờ.
There is many the mayor of the city, but I never have the opportunity to speak Vietnamese and to go through the meeting like this to speak Vietnamese for the citizen.
Khi xưa mà tôi muốn sửa cái nhà tôi nhờ ai?
Before I want to fix my house or build my house, I don't know who to looking for, who to get help.
Bây giờ cái chương trình ấy yếu
Right now with the program ADU
nó lại sẽ giúp cho bà con
and the program to help the people
có cơ hội để
who
góp
have the opportunity
tay để xây dựng
to
thành phố
build this city
nên tất cả
a
tốt hơn.
better city.
Tất cả những bà con ở nơi xa rất là thích
The people that live far away that like this program.
vân tơ khí hậu rất là tốt cho
So this city
lớn
is
tuổi.
a very good weather for the people who the elderly people.
Rất nhiều quý vị cần housing
Many people that need the housing,
không có nhiều bây giờ.
but this city don't have most of the housing.
Tôi hy vọng là trong tương lai
So I hope that in future
xây dựng nhiều nhà cho cư dân.
so you guys can build more house for the citizen.
Tôi biết là trong thành phố này có tới 17 cái mobile home
I know in this city there is about 17 mobile home
in city.
in this city, mobile home area.
Tất cả những người trong chúng ta bây giờ cứ mỗi năm đều cái giá nó đều cao lên cao lên.
And everybody in there say that every year the house, the price of the rental in there increase every year,
Nhất là những khu vực cho người lớn tuổi.
especially the area that for the people, the elderly people.
Tất cả họ đều lên giá từ 1.700 một tháng.
They all increase from 1,700.
Vé rồi cứ như vậy in lên là ấp bắt rồi không biết
And they
nữa.
keep going up and up and up.
Mỗi một người mà muốn mua một cái mobile home ăn cho nó ăn từ nghiệp để cái tuổi già sau bao nhiêu chục năm người ta làm việc và đóng thuế, cái đấy này không có tiền để có một nơi chỗ
Different
lại.
people that want, after many years of working and pay tax, and then now they can afford to pay for to stay in their rent, get a mobile home.
Sau cái yêu và ăn xa để build up sửa sang thành phố nâng cao đời sống, thì tôi xin hội đồng thành phố chú ý tới cái giá nhà, cái tiền thuê nhà của công.
After this program, the two program, NEU and the amnesty, we usually look into the mobile home rental, space rental control of the mobile home.
Đó là chúc quý vị là có nhiều sức khỏe
I
và
hope you guys have a good health and
để giúp cho tư tế.
sort out the city.
Vì chúng tôi muốn sống trong hòa bình
We want to live in
và
peace.
xây dựng đất nước này là đất
And
nước
building this country,
quê hương thứ hai của
this
chúng
is our second country.
tôi. Cảm ơn.
Thank you very much.
Next speaker is Quang Tang.
Quang Tăng. Tăng Quang.
thẳng hoàng là không chế
Quang Quang.
ở hoàng
Quang.
Thưa thành trưởng,
Dear the mayor and the vice mayor and the city council member,
tôi có mặt hôm nay
I am here today
để ủng hộ
to
cử việc
support the program
ADU
ADU
Construction Plan
and construction plan
cũng như là chương trình chính sách
and also the amnesty program
xây cất bất hợp pháp
the illegal building
để có thêm chỗ ở
so that we have more room to live
cho cư dân thành phố
for
Mới
the
Thời.
citizen of Westminster.
Xin thị trưởng và phó thị trưởng,
Please, the mayor and the vice mayor
tất cả các nghị viên
and all of the council members
ủng hộ chương trình.
to support this program. Thank you very much.
Next speaker is Nam Thi Nguyen.
Nam Thị Nguyệt. Nam Thị Nguyệt.
Next speaker is Linh Pham.
Minh Phạm. Linh Phạm.
Nam Nguyễn.
Nam Thị Nguyệt.
To be here today. I'm here today to just to support for the ADU construction program and the amnesty program. And I hope that this program will be passed by the city council. Everybody will be happy to help us, and because this is a very, we really need it, because we belong to the low income, we retire low income, we cannot support for, the construction for the house is very old. So all the retiring need this program very bad. So hope that everybody at the city council will be happy to help us, help for everybody. And thank you very much for mayor, vice mayor, and council, mayor, council member. So very happy, and thank you very much.
Linh Pham.
Good evening, Mayor, and all the council.
hear, you all hear all the requests and all the votes. I think everybody here all support, number one, the ADU program and the amnesty program and also ADU model home. So we hope that that's like a dream for all the residents in Westminster. And I hope and I wish that that dream will come true. And thank you for giving me a chance to come here and talk about what we like and what we hope that the city council can do for all the residents in Westminster. Thank you.
Michael Branch.
Thank you, council members. Before I get started on what I wanted to speak about, this website up here is the official website of the recall for these 3 council members. Those of you that are interested to find out what exactly is involved in that, I urge you to go to this website. On that website, you can find the 25 separate items that are going to be used as a recall for these 3 council members. The other thing I'd like to get to is, we've already talked about ethical behavior or non-ethical behavior as it is. A couple things about me. Along with spending 30 years in law enforcement, I was also a Westminster School Board member, like Mr. Contreras. I was also a member of 2 separate Orange County grand juries. The reason I bring these up, as a school board member, and there's others out here also that have that experience, one of the things that was urged was do not violate the Brown Act. Even the mere appearance of violating the Brown Act can be construed as a violation. This right here can be construed as a violation of the Brown Act. You have 3 city council members in the same location. That location is a business run by one of the city council members. In the picture, you can see products for sale at the business run by the city council member. Another item I would like to bring up, and in doing a little research on this, and this goes along with my grand jury experience. In LA County, they had 9 different individuals that were elected officials that were charged and convicted of election fraud and perjury because those 9 officials did not live in the district that they were supposed to represent. One of the biggest names was Richard Larkin, who had been up in that area for a number of years. He and his wife were both charged with 2 felonies. For those that think they might be able to get away with something like this, the Orange County District Attorney's Office, in this case, because we live down here, would be prosecuting this. This wouldn't fall under the Special Investigations Unit, which handles Brown Act violations, but would actually be investigated by DA's investigators. These are criminal charges, both felonies and both rate prison time, state prison. You folks have me worried about what your thought processes are about running this city. I don't understand what you... Bye, thank you.
Next speaker is Tweet Win. Tweet Win.
Xin chào tất cả các nghị viên
Hello, all the city council members
và tất cả quý vị quan khách ngồi ở tại đây.
and everybody in this room.
Tôi tên là Thủy Huyền.
My name is Huy Nguyen.
cư dân ở thành phố Westminster.
resident of city Westminster.
Tôi đã đi dự 2 buổi họp của chương trình ADU.
I attended 2 meetings of the ADU program.
Tôi xin đại diện cho tất cả những người cư dân trong thành phố Westminster này.
I want to represent the citizen of this, all the citizen of this city, Westminster.
Thấy chương trình ADU rất là bổ ích
I
và
think the program ADU is very convenient, very good.
thứ nhất là chương trình này đã tạo cho những người cư dân có thêm nơi chốn để mà sinh sống.
I think this program have created more room for the citizen to live.
Và những người chủ nhà của cư dân trong thành phố này tạo thêm, xây đất thêm để cho những cư dân ở thành phố khác đến chơi, vì thành phố này đang phát triển và tính chất của nền kinh tế và thương mại đang càng ngày càng thu hút cư dân kéo về trong thành phố này rất cao.
And also the homeowner can build more room so they can attract more people that came into this city. So this city is growing in economic and commercial.
Chúng tôi nhận thấy chương trình xây nhà phụ trội và xây nhà xin ân xá.
We see that the program, the building, additional building and the amnesty program,
Đó là những cái quyền lợi rất hữu ích cho cư dân và cho những người tương lai của thế hệ thứ nhì và thứ ba của con cháu chúng ta sau này.
and it's very good for the citizen of Westminster and also for the future citizen and the second generation and first generation of this city.
Và một lần nữa,
And
chúng
one
tôi
more time,
xin Hội đồng thành phố, các nghị viên hãy chấp nhận và chấp thuận cho chương trình này được hoàn tất và được phát triển cho tất cả những cư dân. Chúng tôi rất mong muốn và yêu mến thành phố Westminster.
we urge you, the council member and everybody to pass this program, this law, so that we all can grow and we love this city very much, city Westminster.
Và tôi cũng xin nhắc thêm trong cái chương trình trường ADU này
I also want to say more about this ADU program.
cũng có lợi về hai phía.
And also it's good, it's convenient, it's also good about two more things.
Thứ nhất là bên nhà nước thành phố có thêm thu nhập về thuế của những người mà họ xây thêm ADU.
It's good for both sides, also for the city, that when they will acquire more income for the people who are building the ADU unit.
Và những người chưa có nhà hoặc những người đi thuê họ sẽ có thêm cơ hội.
And the people who don't have their house and also the renter, the people who are renting, they got more opportunity.
Họ vẫn tiếp tục để mà sinh sống và làm việc ở ngay tại thành phố Westminster này.
They can continue to live and work in this city of Westminster.
Và đồng thời
And
xin
also, please,
những người đã xây nhà bất hợp pháp trước đây
the
thì
people
nay,
who's that building illegal building already,
thì nay có chương trình xin ân xá những trường hợp như thế này. Chúng tôi rất hoan nghênh và rất cổ vũ cho chương trình này.
so we really appreciate and support for this program, that this program for the illegal building.
Một lần nữa chúng tôi hy vọng
And one more time, we hope that
chương trình này được chấp thuận một thời gian ngắn gần đây.
this program will pass through very fast. In the near future.
Xin trân trọng kính chào tất cả các nghị viên và các quý vị quan khách.
Thank you. And
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Lộc Quách.
Xin chào quý vị dân cử
Hello, the city council member.
và mọi
Everybody
phòng.
in this meeting, in the room.
Tôi tên là Lộc Quách, cư dân
My
của
name is
Westminster.
Northwark, the resident of the city Westminster.
Dạ, thưa là tôi hoàn toàn, thứ nhất tôi khẳng định rằng tôi hoàn toàn ủng hộ về chương trình ADU và chương trình ân xá nhà.
I am completely support and advocate to the program of NSC and the ADU program.
Dạ, tôi xin khẳng định nó, hoàn toàn ủng hộ.
The reason
Thứ nhất, thành phố Westminster là thành phố rất đẹp và đang phát triển rất mạnh trên mọi lĩnh vực.
the city Westminster is a beautiful city and it's growing all the aspects.
Tôi có gặp được, có thể tôi làm trong cơ quan chính phủ. Và phần lớn những người bạn tôi đều sống tại Westminster, ở trong thành phố này tôi sống.
I work in the government for the government, and most of my friends they all choose to live in this city. Choose to live in this city.
Thành phố này,
This city,
đất thì nhỏ,
the land is
không
small,
phát triển được.
it cannot grow.
Và người thì càng ngày càng lớn,
The
càng
people
phát
more
triển.
grow and grow more.
Tại sao có những khu nhà, khu đất rất rộng?
How come there is many
Chúng ta không cho xây thêm những cái nhà
a lot
phụ
of
trợ.
empty land? Why don't you can build more house on those extra land?
Nhà nước lấy tiền thuế,
The
dân có
government
thêm
got
ở,
more max,
mướn nhà rẻ.
The people can rent it cheaper and the people can build more house. Why don't we do that?
Còn cái thứ hai,
And the
những
second
nhà
reason,
chương trình xây dựng ân xá,
the amnesty program.
nếu nhà nước cho làm chương trình ân xá đó thì người ta sẽ ân xá, nhà nước sẽ thu được thêm thuế và kiểm soát được mọi sự lĩnh vực an toàn trong thành phố.
The government will collect more tax and control more safety, get more safety on the building.
Tôi là người Việt Nam,
I am
nên
Vietnamese.
tôi khẳng định giống như hồi
I
xưa
affirmably that
là ý dân là ý trời, mà
the
chung
will
quanh
of
tôi
the
đây
people
thì
is the will
là
of God.
chung quanh chúng tôi đây phần lớn là người Việt Nam,
Most of the
ai
people
cũng
who live
đồng
around
ý
here is
từ đầu
Vietnamese.
giờ đến
Everybody support.
từ đầu giờ đến giờ, hầu như tất cả quý vị ở đây nghe, tất cả những người
You
lên
can
phát
see
biểu
most of
đều
the
ủng
people
hộ
come
chương
over
trình
here and
xây dựng
support
nhà và
for the
illegal
additional
building.
building and
Yeah.
an illegal building.
Dạ, hầu như vậy nên mọi người
Most
rất
people
là
like that.
ủng hộ. Tôi mong rằng
And everybody
những
support
người
that
dân chủ ở
program.
đây là
I
đại
hope
diện
that
dân
these council
Nếu
members
coi
here
được
will represent
thông
the
qua
resident
càng nhanh càng tốt.
and understand the people and pass it as quick as possible. Don't
Mọi
wait
người-
anymore, don't be late.
Mọi người chờ lâu lắm rồi, chúng ta
Everybody
bây
wait
giờ
too long.
chúng
You
ta làm
cannot wait anymore.
tôi làm cho chính phủ tôi biết
I work for the government.
ra
I know.
làm thì
You
đừng
can
chờ.
do it right away.
Dạ,
Don't wait.
ok, cảm ơn quý vị.
Thi Nguyễn.
Next speaker is Tree Quat.
Chí Quách. Quách Chí.
Lộc.
Lộc Loan. Lộc Đoàn. Oanh Ngô. Ngô Oanh.
Chào thị trưởng, phó thị trưởng.
Dear Mayor and Vice Mayor, Council Member.
Tôi tên là Oanh Ngô.
My name is Oanh Ngô.
Tôi là dân của City Westminster.
I'm the resident of the city of Westminster.
Theo hôm nay
Today,
tôi đến đây để
I come here
ủng
to
hộ cho cái chương trình
support the program
ăn xá và chương trình xây thêm
and the additional building,
nhà ở ADU.
ADU.
Theo tôi nhận xét thì
According to my
cái chương trình
observation,
này rất là có lợi cho dân,
this program is very good for the people.
tại vì dân ở Westminster rất là đông
Because
mà
the
đất
people in the Western, there are a lot of people, but and the land,
và đất nó không có nở ra,
and the land not growing any bigger.
cho nên á, là bây giờ có được cái chương trình xây thêm nhà ở như thế này
So this is a program that building more room for like this.
thì nó có được thêm nhiều chỗ ở
So we got more room to live.
và lợi điểm cho
Convenient
cho những cái người đi thuê nhà có nhiều chỗ ở thì cái giá thuê nó sẽ rẻ xuống.
for the people who go renting the house, it will be cheaper because got more to choose and more to rent.
Điểm thứ nhất là lợi cho người thuê nhà.
And
Điểm thứ hai,
the good thing is that for the renter. And the second thing,
điểm thứ hai là lợi cho cái chủ nhà, họ có thêm được cái income.
the homeowner to have more income.
Mà khi mà họ xây nhà mà có giấy tờ đầy đủ như thế này
When they build the house with all the legal document,
thì họ cho thuế, thì họ sẽ đóng thuế cho chính quyền.
so they can, when they rent out, they will pay tax to the government.
Cho nên khi đó thì chính quyền sẽ có cái ngân khoản đó để sửa sang cầu đường, để sửa sang cái thành phố sẽ đẹp.
So the government will have the city will have more money to fix the road and the bridge and make it the city more beautiful.
Cho nên chúng tôi tha thiết là cầu mong những cái quý vị mà có thẩm quyền
So we miss all the people who have authority
hãy giúp đỡ là
helping,
cho cái chương trình này được thông qua để
so
chúng
helping
tôi
the program to pass the program.
và để chúng tôi có được cái chỗ ở thoải mái.
So we have a room to live comfortable.
Tôi xin cảm ơn.
And thank you.
Next speakers, Jody Boyd, Amy Walsh, and Carla Oakley.
I'd like to speak to you this evening regarding rent control in our city's mobile home parks, but I'm not. Instead, I'm going to speak to you regarding agenda items 5.3 and 5.4, the ADU units and the amnesty. And this is where Assistant Attorney, I'm going to refer to you because both of those items were now pulled back into closed section for potential litigation. Both items came forward and are directly stemmed back to meetings that were held in violation of the Brown Act. I believe we do need to strike them from this evening's agenda.
I don't think that the city attorney has anything to respond, right? We don't have anything to respond.
Well, it's a legal issue.
It's your time to speak.
Okay, but it is a legal issue. All right, now for the Vietnamese community, I would like for everybody to understand why I am opposed to hearing the two agenda items this evening regarding the ADU units and the amnesty program. Those came directly from a meeting that was held by a majority of our city council members that were in violation of the Brown Act because no public notice was given. That is a violation. It speaks for itself that it was only Vietnamese American citizens that were here speaking in favor of it. It's because there were no Hispanic, no Samoan, no non-Vietnamese Asian, and no Caucasians that were even aware of or invited to the meeting. I have served the city, specifically the mayor, vice mayor, and council member Wen, with a cease and desist order regarding these Brown Act violations. All meetings of the legislative body of a local agency shall be open and public. Brown Act 54953A. This letter serves as notice to you to immediately cease and desist your activities that are in violation of the Ralph M. Brown Act, California Government Code 54950 et sec. All meetings of the legislative body of a local agency shall be open and public, and all persons shall be permitted to attend any meeting of the legislative body of a local agency. I'm now on their time.
City Attorney, please wait. Explain the rule.
If someone else wants to take your notes, they can take your notes and speak.
So she can just continue.
That's, we've already.
It doesn't matter. I explained it to the city earlier, this is our.
We've already been cleared.
So we just have to have one person, I'm gonna speak a little bit again, but.
Maybe defer to the city clerk, the process here normally.
We've done this before.
It's no different than if I were to stand here, if I take over, I'm just.
Let me ask the city clerk, is this the process that you would allow someone to take someone else's time? Normally you can hand the notes to another person and they can continue to speak.
Well, that's not what we're doing.
Let me ask the city clerk, what's their process in Westminster?
No, I had explained that they couldn't defer the time because we had this discussion at a previous meeting. So they submitted 3 individual speaker cards. So the assumption was that they weren't going to just continue on with the letter, but not necessarily the same person getting deferred to.
Right.
They're just reading the next.
Yeah.
So the next person would get their 3 minutes.
Right, and that's how it's typically handled.
Right.
Meeting means any congregation of a majority of the members of the legislative body at the same time in location, including teleconference location as permitted by section 54953. To hear, discuss, deliberate, or take action on any item that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the legislative body. Specifically, the meetings you conducted on June 2nd, 2019 and July 7th, 2019 were not open, publicized, or noticed to the general public. Both meetings were only publicized to the Vietnamese American community. Public notice was not published on the City of Westminster website. Public notice was not posted at City Hall or in public areas. Attendance by all 3 of you represented the majority of the Westminster City Council. At the meetings, you heard and discussed items within your subject matter jurisdiction. The meeting was held at Kimberly Ho's private business, Family Acting Center. Shopping bags for Kimberly Ho's private business, Apogee International, were displayed. Maximum legal seating is estimated to be only 30 folding chairs based on approximate room size, further restricting attendance by the general public. Each member of a legislative body who attends a meeting of that legislative body where action is taken in violation of any provision of this chapter, and where the member intends to deprive the public of information to which the member knows or has reason to know the public is entitled under this chapter, is guilty of a misdemeanor. 54959. The district attorney or any interested person who commences an action by mandamus, injunction, or declaratory relief for the purpose of stopping violations or threatened violations of this chapter by members of the legislative body of a local agency. 54960A. If you do not cease and desist these violations of the Brown Act, I will be forced to take appropriate legal action against you and will seek available remedies. Sincerely, Jody Boyd.
And I CC Todd Spitzer, because this is
And I did want to take a quick minute to let people know and let you guys know that there is nothing about 5.3 that anyone is speaking ill of at all. We think it's a great program and it would be wonderful to have happen. However, what we are upset about and what we are sending a cease and desist order about is the fact that there was a Brown Act violation. Had you guys gone about things the proper way, we wouldn't be here in this wonderful mess. However,
we would ask, or I would ask, that in the future, one, don't break the Brown Act, and two, please, if there's going to be informational settings, meetings, stuff like that, let it be known rather than just by word of mouth to the entire community and not just one section of it. I'm hoping that people have learned their lesson on this one because breaking the Brown Act is not good, especially when the local newspaper gets a pretty damning picture of the three of you guys together. There's the evidence, and you're welcome. Have a wonderful night.
And by the way, for the second meeting in a row, she's driven a car registered in your Belinda.
Ma'am, the time is much.
Next speaker is Win.
Mr. Mayor, if I could briefly respond to some of the comments that were made.
Please.
Because I just want to clarify. Correct. I just want to make sure to clarify something. Because I received two different letters this week. One was the demand letter, and that is put on the items on the agenda tonight to have discussion by the council. That's item number 6.1. So that was the demand that you made about the Brown Act violation. So that is something that is going to be discussed and acted on tonight. The other,
you think that should come before
let me
item
finish,
5.3
please.
and 5.4 though?
Let me finish. Then maybe that's something that can be done. I'll defer to the mayor on that. But the other item was you sent a letter asking that those two items, 5.3 and 5.4, be removed from the agenda because they weren't properly placed on the agenda. I researched that, and I went back and looked at there was a June 2nd meeting, and Councilmember Ho at the June 12th meeting had an agenda item on which a report from that meeting. And the council had a discussion in about 35, 40 minutes where she discussed what happened at that meeting, and at the conclusion, there was a motion made, seconded, and 5-0 to put these two items on the agenda. So that was properly handled. So I just want to make sure for the public that you understand. I did look at it and make sure there was a very long discussion on whether to put those items on the agenda. So that's just for the record.
All right, okay, so next speaker, please.
Ma'am.
They're all about breaking the law in this city.
Nguyễn Văn Thọ. Nguyễn Thọ Văn Thọ. Quang Đỗ Quân.
Here you go.
Mai Đỗ Huệ. Quân Đỗ. Quân Đỗ.
Tôi tên là Đỗ.
My name is Đỗ Quân.
Kính chào
Thưa với quý vị, là hồi nãy chúng tôi lúc mà vô cái văn phòng họp của Hội đồng thành phố Westminster thì chúng tôi không có thấy ông Ngô Kỷ, một người hầu như là lần họp nào cũng có mặt hết. Nhưng mà bây giờ chúng tôi đã thấy ông xuất hiện rồi, chắc ông có thể là ông ngủ quên. Chút xíu nữa chúng tôi sẽ quay cảnh close up đó, cận cảnh ông Ngô Kỷ để hầu chuyện quý vị nha.
It's always increased in the city of Westminster. According to the law of supply and demand. And the rental of the room and sharing the room is the price is increased very fast. In the city, especially in the city of Westminster and Garden Road. This is the necessary program. Proposed by the city of Westminster. In the two programs, ADU and NSC.
Hai chương trình này
These two programs support each other.
cư dân thành phố
It will help the citizens of the resident of Westminster.
có nhiều chỗ ở hơn
You have more room to live.
thì an cư lạc
If you live peacefully, then you will prosper.
Hội đồng thành phố làm đề xuất cần kịp thời.
The cities they did it in time.
Nếu cái mức độ tăng giá của nhà cửa và của Westminster này
Under the current increasing the price of rental in the city of Westminster today,
chương trình amnesty là một cái giải pháp
the amnesty program is a solution
hợp thức hóa cho nhiều nhà
to legalize the house,
đã xây thêm addition and remodel
adding a room or building remodel the room
không có giấy phép.
without the license.
Một số người rất đông.
This is a lot of number of these houses built like this.
Nếu chương trình này mà được thực thi triệt để
If this program will enforce enacted quick
đã giúp cho người dân của chúng ta cơ hội ổn định,
to help the citizen of Westminster to be stabilized
giúp cho người già có đầy đủ sức khỏe
and help the elderly to have more health
và thế hệ trẻ hoàn tất việc học tập.
and the younger generation to complete their education.
Kính mong Hội đồng thành phố
I wish the cities of Westminster
trợ và
to support
thực
their
thi chương trình này
and acting on this program
với nơi tới chốn.
completely.
Rất cảm ơn.
Thank you very much.
Mai đâu?
Mai đâu?
Trung Nguyễn, Hoa Nguyễn.
Dung Nguyễn và Hoa Nguyễn. Thắng Hoàng.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Councilman. I'm here to support the accessory dwelling unit and the model home that we're proposing. And then also the homeless program. I think it's a great idea. This is the best thing ever I heard of it. And I also, I'm a resident over at Westminster. And I hope this will help a lot of low income and a lot of people that reside. I mean, this city is, the pricing rental is way up now, so I think this is the best thing. Thank you very much.
Lê Thị Ngọc Anh.
Roger Fierce.
My name is Roger Fierce, a tax-paying homeowner in Westminster for 57 years, and I love the city very much. I have come here to speak in support of Councilman Doe. His quest to reform the city began at the onset of his term in the city council. He proposed term limits for the city council. He proposed a code of ethics for the city, which was refused after some hot debates. Do we need a better code of ethics for the city? You bet we do. The Voice of OC announced on July the 3rd another set of charges against the city by 4 policemen, which will be leading to another lawsuit. Altogether, the city has spent more than $11 million on litigation and settlements since 2011. To make matters worse, One of the 4 police charging the city is the current police commander in charge of the department's preferred standards unit, overseeing internal affairs. He is charged that the police department and city human relations department would not heed his reports of infractions, not even take their calls from the 4 policemen. Our own police chief, Ralph Ornelas, was put on administrative leave in February under investigation, compelling him to retire in April. His crony Mark Latterbeck has replaced him in keeping status quo. Our city has had 10 city managers in the last 14 years. Our city has had 5 police chiefs in the last 8 years. On another note, immediately after the 1-cent tax was approved, the floodgates opened on spending. Now, how many new people have been hired in the city? Just recently, for instance, in March this year, the city initiated a new department called the City Preservation Unit. This unit purchased 4 new light blue pickup trucks, tasked 5 personnel to fight blight in the city. They enforce unsightly trash cans, overgrown vegetation, and illegal signs, even things posted on telephone poles. That's really nice. But do we need to pay for nice? Our city is out of control. I know it, the public knows it, and Councilman Dillon knows it, and he had the backbone to address it. I know the council would not agree with term limits, so the public must take action like initiating a petition to put it on the ballot. I do not feel the best interest of the whole city from north-south, east-west is fairly represented. Therefore, I propose we establish council districts for representation of all across the city. The police department has 8 sectors to monitor, so we could certainly have 4 council districts for representation.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I am Diana Carey. I am the chair of the Citizens Oversight Committee for Measure SS. We did have a meeting recently. We felt that it was perfunctory, and we do take our duties with regard to Measure S oversight very seriously. For the community, this was the 4th meeting of the Oversight Committee. The purpose of the committee is to review the annual audited financial statements and budget reports and to communicate findings to the council and to the residents. When the voters approved Measure SS transaction tax, they did so with the intent to stabilize the city's financial position, to avoid bankruptcy. We wanted to hire and restore our police department and safety employees and staff regular employees' positions again so that we could provide services that had been severely limited. But we were disappointed in this meeting. The first positive thing that came out was we were very pleased to see that the unfunded liability and prepayment set aside. We feel that is very positive. What we didn't receive, which should have been in line with our duties, we did not receive a report on hiring. We do know that there have been improvements in the police department and in code enforcement, but there are many positions that remain vacant. We were not given a report on overall expense trending in the city. Most importantly, the transaction tax income from Measure SS is less than anticipated for 3 main reasons. Auto sales are down. That is, leasing, however, has increased. That doesn't really help us on the sales tax part. We have had no new large chain stores in Westminster. And the deterioration of the mall, because we have lost major retailers, has been a drain on our sales tax. So we have two suggestions before I give you the big picture. We feel that it is really important that we let the citizens know how we are spending our money. So we are recommending a branding project for Measure W. We also feel that we need to formulate a positive educational outreach of the accomplishments resulting from Measure SS, from other grants, and from economic development activities. I have one more thing and then I will end. This was the major discussion at the meeting. Perception is reality. And this is it. Your public political infighting is creating a negative perception of your ability to govern this city, and it is also putting in jeopardy the reauthorization of Measure SS, because we would be in bankruptcy if we did not have that. And so we are asking that you put your personal...
Mr. Kerry, your time.
Okay, well, put it aside and let's start working for all of us.
Next speaker is Terry Rains.
Okay, good evening. Terry Rains from Westminster. I would like to hear from the city manager and the city attorney regarding Vice Mayor Ho releasing an official press release on official letterhead in Vietnamese to the Vietnamese media that was a version of her diatribe-filled resolution from the last meeting. It did not even receive a second and therefore failed, so how can she put this out as an official press release? None of the other council members agreed with what she proposed, yet she speaks on their behalf throughout the document. The real press release was originally posted on the city's website, but disappeared a few days later, and I don't know where it went. That official press release should have only been one sentence, that the city council is not renaming the city. The three of you insulted the intelligence of the Vietnamese people in our community by saying that they would all believe that the city's name was really changing. Vietnam has totalitarian laws that criminalize criticism of the government on social media. These three want the same thing here in Westminster. The letter to the editor in the Tribune about the city's new agenda process has several inaccuracies. The author states that 9 other cities in Orange County utilize the same process to add items to the city council agenda as the one that you three voted to adopt on June 11th. I prepared a spreadsheet that summarizes the procedure for each of those cities compared to Westminster. Everything highlighted in yellow is different from what you adopted. Let me break it down for you. 2 of the cities do not require any vote at all. Only 2 allow the mayor to add items independently, and they are much larger cities than Westminster. Only one of those 2 has an elected mayor. All the rest require the mayor to follow the same procedures as other council members. 4 do not require a majority vote, but rather a lesser number. And none of the cities have any sort of time limit that the council member must wait to bring the item back again. The 3 of you have adopted the most restrictive agenda procedure in the county, and are you proud of that? Of course you are. Anything to silence the opposition. Most cities the size of Westminster have a rotational mayor and term limits to prevent the dictator style of leadership that we have in our city now. It is time for change. Mayor Todd, you complained that the city would incur costs for a recall effort. What about the cost that you forced on taxpayers when you insisted on placing the change for the mayor's term from 2 years to 4 years on the primary ballot so it would be in place for your next one in November? Vice Mayor Ho, you were quoted in the Vietnamese media as saying you did not want to be a slave to foreigners, including Americans. So you consider Americans foreigners and yourself to not be an American? I applaud former Mayor Rice's comments about you and fully agree with what she said.
Most cities cancel 1, maybe 2 meetings in the summer, but this council canceled 3. Yet some on the council complained that they don't have time to face the issues like homelessness, blight, crime, code enforcement, etc. Time for change. Join us.
Speakers Linda Tang.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Linda Tang, and I'm here on behalf of the Kennedy Commission, and we advocate for the development of homes that are affordable throughout, for low-income families throughout the county. And I'm here to submit written comments to all of you and to just speak on that, on the fact that there's a lack of, due to the lack of space rent legalization ordinance, it has made Westminster's mobile home parks an attractive investment opportunity. Currently, there are over 2,000 mobile homes, which comprises 11% of the total units in the city. And for every 10 homes in the city, one of them is a mobile home. There are 60 mobile home parks in the city, and a majority of these mobile homes are located on large sites, which has attracted investors to come in to purchase the mobile home parks. And they have implemented excessive rent increases that have placed residents in jeopardy of being displaced and losing their mobile homes. The dire situation of the mobile home park residents is a clear example that further action needs to be taken to ensure that mobile home park residents in the city are protected from excessive rent gouging. With high housing costs and the severe lack of affordable homes, many lower-income households in the city have relied on mobile homes as an alternative option to living in stable and affordable homes. As I've said before in the past, a resident must earn at least $36 an hour to afford a 2-bedroom apartment. At $36 an hour, that is simply out of reach for many residents. A majority of the residents are mobile home owners, and they are comprised of lower-income vulnerable seniors on fixed incomes and lower-income working family households who face rent challenges and paying new excessive rent increases. They may not be able to afford the rent increases and may have no choice but to move elsewhere. The Commission urges the city to take action and to support the following item for discussion at the upcoming August 14, 2019 City Council meeting, which is to approve an emergency ordinance or moratorium to temporarily stop rent increases at all the mobile home parks in the city, and also to implement a citywide space rent stabilization ordinance. I urge all of you to please help the residents and to address the need to stop excessive rent increases. This whole process has been really difficult for me because I've had a lot of seniors come up to me and just be really stressed over the situation. It's really difficult for me to see them cry. It's really absolutely just heartbreaking to see that they're just really nervous and just afraid that they don't know where they're going to go. I really do hope that you all find it in your hearts to please hear them out. They're going to speak to you, and to just please take action for these residents and to look into the space rent stabilization ordinance that will not only protect residents from excessive rent increases, but will also allow landlords to increase the rent at a fair percentage. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. I want to come in a mood of civility and just communication. In your prayer, you talked about wisdom and truth. I want to bring what she talked about on a realistic sense. I'm the president of our HOA, so I have people coming to me all the time in my park at Driftwood. I know the anguish. I know what kind of pressure we're going through on a financial level. We're being bullied and berated to sign bad leases, which I didn't sign, but most of our park did just because they had no choice. They beat the door down with a tremendous increase
and then we negotiated something decent. Even in that, they're not following the MRL law. They only apply it when it's their benefit. There's certain financial things, I won't get into details, but daily, I hear the heartbreak, the tension. We're losing people. It's a senior park. We're towards the end of our life anyhow. So we have those issues, and now we have landlords turning on us and giving us grief upon grief. So we need you guys to step up, someone on this council, and please put it on the agenda next month so we can get some kind of stabilization and put this to rest. I heard so much bad communication on the housing problems here. You could solve a big section of that if you would focus in on this and then handle each one as they come. And I think that's about it. I thank you very much.
Rebecca Hughes. Hi, my name is Rebecca Hughes, and I've lived in Westminster since 1963. I pretty much know the history of Westminster. I joined the military from Westminster. I served until 1975 during the Vietnam War. I know it was the church families here in Westminster and Garden Grove and all over Orange County. My family was one of them who opened up their homes to all the refugees that were coming into Westminster. That's a wonderful thing. When you've done everything that you humanly can, to participate as a good citizen in your community, it's really, you can't sit on your laurels, but we're retired. I'm a disabled veteran. I'm a senior citizen. I get Social Security. And with Social Security and even a small disability check, I really don't qualify for any services that would land to paying rent on the land. I own my home, so I say I'm a homeowner, yay. But they have us buy this technicality of the land that are mobile homes, and they're not mobile, sit on. Our rent went up 3 years ago, $80 a month. Then it went up last year, $72, and my figures might not be exact. And then this year again, it went up another 5%. So it's like another $50, $60. And when you add that up, on Social Security, that's almost $300 a month. And if they continue to increase our rent, whether it's 10%, there's people that are far worse off than I am, who would just like to retire and just have our little comfort zone with our small homes. We're not asking for a lot, except some consideration for what we've done for the community, what we want to continue to do for the community, and we would really like the community and the city council to respond to our needs. And I thank you very much.
Next speaker is Mary Jo Barrett.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Mary Jo Barrett. I'm the Vice President for the Golden State Manufacturers Homeowners League for the Los Angeles, Orange, and San Bernardino counties. We have more mobile home parks, believe it or not, than most of the whole state of California. As one of the representatives for the Westminster mobile home homeowners, I implore you on behalf of them to be seriously consider placing an interim mobile home ordinance for mobile home rent stabilization on the August 14th agenda. You've already promised to support these people. and please fulfill your promise. The entire Westminster mobile home community of homeowners and their families will be entirely grateful forever. You've been made aware before of the fragile and vulnerable seniors, veterans, and disabled and other low-income homeowners in the city of Westminster being threatened with economic eviction through outlandish rent increases, causing the loss of their homes and everything they have saved and paid for all their lives. Many still have mortgages. They need your compassion and protection. Many have no families and are facing the horrible prospect of being homeless and living among the habitual druggies and others who prey upon them and for their lives. This is especially the elderly citizens in their 70s, 80s, and 90s, and they're afraid of being robbed and raped. We'd like to work with you to address the serious situation. The interim moratorium ordinance on mobile home rent stabilization increases is one option that has worked successfully throughout the state of California, while a mobile home rent stabilization ordinance is prepared and reviewed. There are currently 110 cities and counties in the state that have rent stabilization ordinances. The GSM has worked closely with the mobile home homeowners and the government officials in those cities and counties to help institute the rent stabilization ordinance, which allows the homeowners a fair return on their investment and also enables homeowners to be able to afford to live in their homes that they spent their life savings on. This can be accomplished in Westminster. Please protect these vulnerable citizens to save their homes and allow them to live their lives in a dignified and safe mobile home community. Thank you.
Doe, followed by Gina Tran.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and the City Councils. My name is Doe. I'm a resident of the Mobile Village, and also I am a member of the Lantern Resident Association and the Orange County Mobile Resident Coalition. As you all know, over the past 2 years, the spray rent has increased so much in many mobile parks in Westminster. The rent now in some places getting high from $1,300 up to $1,700 a month. And this happened and take the nightmare of the resident of the mobile park who are senior and family with the low and fixed income. Plus also make them anxious, stressed, and depressed. Tonight we are here to ask you to help a resident by bring the pay rent stabilization to the city on the agenda of the City Council meeting next month to discuss. We're looking forward for your season. Thank you.
Gina Tran, followed by Joseph Nguyen.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor Chita, Vice Mayor, Councilman, social controllers, and Honorable, and also Charlie Jiwang. And thank you everybody here for your time and listening. My name is Gina Tran. I'm living in the city of Westminster. After 30 years working, and I retired and decided to move to California because I left the country. So I miss the fellowship and our friend and relative. So I decided to move into the Westminster city and to live with the most of the Vietnamese. When I was working, 30% 50% money income go to tax, and I had to support my children, pay all the housing and everything for life, and I don't have much money to save. So after I retire, I come here, and at that time, house in the California is so expensive. I'm talking about 3-bedroom, 600, 700,000. With my retired income, I cannot afford. So I make a calculation. At that time, I purchased a mobile home in Westminster. The rent at that time only $600 per month. And now it's go up to $1,750. Plus, they charge us for the property tax. That is not our land. If the land increase, all the benefit go to the landowner, not us. Why we have to pay property tax? And we cannot do anything. So now, today, I'm standing here to ask for your help, Mayor and Councilman Sergio Contreras and Tado, and everybody in the community, Westminster, to consider the way to help the mobile home owner. Because I am the middle income. You know many programs to help the middle income, but I haven't seen any program to help the middle income like us. Working so many years and we don't have any help from the government. We don't want it, but thank you. We want to, you put on the agenda for next meeting. Thank you so much.
Followed by Nan Win.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and member of City Council. My name is Joseph Nguyen. I'm a resident of Somerset Mobile Home Estate, right nearby here, located at 9200 Westminster Boulevard, space number 66 in Westminster. Thank you for the opportunity to speak directly to you all this evening regarding an issue that I hold very dear to my heart, because I was a businessman, but in the last 7 years, I decided to move back, scale back, live in a mobile home right here in Westminster because I enjoy all the amenities the cities has offered. But all of a sudden, there's a big issue, and I live among my neighbors. There's many older seniors, some of them on single income, and as you might have aware of this rent increase issues that happened in the last couple of years, that is so drastically that 2 years ago, an average person, a household for the rent in the city probably was paying roughly about $1,000. But within the last 2 years, some of the price now has increased up to $1,700. So you're looking at a 70% increase in 2 years, which is very dramatic. And especially for mobile home residents as well as, and particularly for seniors, because you know they don't have that kind of income. And as I've stated, this issue that we're facing today is not just the affordability of the rent today, but it also has a long-term side effect, which is potentially eliminating mobile parks altogether. Period, in the city. And let me illustrate, elaborate on my point, on this point. The former manager of my park, she's retired after the new management came in. Of course, she's over 80 years old. She's her late 80s, retired, decided to move to Arizona. So she put her house up for sale. Within the first week, she got 2 solid offers on it. Go through the process. Then neither buyer will qualify to live in a mobile home park. A under their qualification standard, which is you are required to have 3 times the income monthly, 3 times over the monthly rent. So if the rent was $1,000, her rent right now is about $1,050. Let's say $1,100. 3 times that $300. I think a lot of people can afford that. But even though you have a lease, the homeowner raised the rent for the incoming occupant up to, on her lease is $1,550. So let's say $1,500. Time 3, $4,500. So how many people do you think can afford that? So please help us by put this on the agenda so we have a chance to. Thank you. So we have a chance to express. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a resident of Westminster. You need to help me because I had a situation. Tôi có một câu hỏi cho ông thị trưởng. Tại sao toàn thể cộng đồng người Việt Tỉnh Cộng sản đã tha thiết kêu gọi ông thị trưởng và các dân cử đã ký tên vào tấm bằng vinh danh dành cho một diễn viên Việt Cộng mà người này không hề làm gì cho thành phố. Cộng đồng người Việt chỉ xin ông thị trưởng lên tiếng vô hiệu hóa cái bằng khen đó để chúng tôi không cảm thấy bị sỉ nhục. Điều này có việc khó khăn ghê gớm lắm không mà quý vị không thể làm được. A question for the mayor. You granted the resolution of commendation to a communist actress who has done nothing for the city. The whole Vietnamese in Little Saigon community almost begged you to say something to invalidate that document, to prove that you don't betray them. Yet you have taken no action. Why is this so extremely difficult for you to do? And question. Tại sao các quý vị trong một ủy ban chống cộng sản và tay sai tổ chức một buổi họp để mời tất cả các thành viên trong cộng đồng của thành phố đến để cùng nhau thảo luận tìm ra một giải pháp chung cho sự đoàn kết của cộng đồng. Nhưng các ông bà không thèm đến mà lại tổ chức một buổi họp khác ở gần đó để chống phá lại ông nghị viên tài đỗ. Mọi người, ngay cả người bản xứ cũng biết rằng ông tài đỗ dùng một câu nói có tính cách mỉa mai châm biếm là thành phố Westminster sẽ đổi tên thành thành phố Hồ Chí Minh. Ngay cả một đứa con nít cũng biết điều ví von chua chát này. Vậy mà sao bà phó thị trưởng đã cố tình đánh lạc hướng dư luận bằng cách triệu tập những người lớn tuổi lại để kết án ông Tài là muốn đổi tên thành phố này là thành phố Hồ Chí Minh của Việt Cộng. Đây là một hành động rất trẻ con và thiếu đạo đức của người đại diện cho cư dân của thành phố. When the coalition against communism and activists tried to convene a meeting and invited all the city council members seeking a solution to ease the tension between groups in our community and to unite them. You didn't bother to show up. Instead, you organized another meeting a few steps away to fight against Councilman Tidal. Everyone, including the American residents, very well acknowledged that Mr. Doe just used a sarcastic statement to compare the city of Westminster with Ho Chi Minh City. Even a child can understand such metaphor. However, Mrs. Vice Mayor tried to mislead the community by organizing a meeting to accuse Councilman Doe of planning to change the name of the city of Westminster to Ho Chi Minh City, like the one in communist Vietnam. This is such a complete immature and unethical manipulation. A vice mayor who represents all the people of the city should behave in such a misleading and divisive way. Thank you.
Okay.
Alright, good evening, City Council. I'd like to say you're here, elected in a democratic process to represent us, Westminster residents. You did not become mayor or city council members, risking your life, applying the position through all the means like in Vietnam, before 75 or after 75. That's why I think you cannot run the city like you own it. The reason that I said that you cannot run the city like you own it is like one resident said, after Councilman Haido made a sarcastic comment on Facebook, rather to resolve it on Facebook or take time to ask us, the residents, what we think of his comment and what we would like to do about it, you decided on your own to cancel a regular meeting, to call for a special meeting at 1 o'clock. I'd like to remind you that you all have your life. I remember that you said you have to go home early. You cannot spend hours to listen to us. That's why you reduce our speaking time. And sometimes you want to move the meeting early because you have some event that you have to attend to. I'd like to remind you that you are just a resident, a citizen, like every one of us. There's 100,000 residents in Westminster, and every one of us have a life. So before deciding to change the time, to reduce the time, to move up the time, to call for a special meeting, I'd like you to take into account of another 99,000 residents in Westminster to see if they can, that you representing them, you accommodating them, or you just deciding things on your own, or like someone said, between the three of you. So, I guess I'm out of time.
And the last call for the following speakers.
Gọi là cuối cùng cho Cương Trần. Thi Nguyễn.
Cuối cùng là
Tên tôi là Cư Trần.
My name is Cư Trần.
Tôi sống ở Westminster City này 40 năm.
I live in the city of Westminster almost 40 years.
Tôi bầu cho quý vị.
I vote for you guys.
Cho thị trường, cho bà con,
For the mayor, the vice mayor,
cho Charlie Đồng Chí,
and Charlie Đồng Chí, and Kimberly Ho, and Tạ Đức Chí.
Nhưng ngày hôm nay tôi lại làm xấu hổ.
But today I would sin
bởi vì ba người này đã làm những điều xấu xa cho cộng đồng Việt Nam ở đây.
For the Vietnamese community here.
Tôi xin đưa ra
I want to
5 điểm.
Point out the five items.
Okay, so we can say I can say I am shame on you guys. Because I vote for you guys, I trust you guys, but you guys did nothing for me, for Westminster City. You are lacking of job performance. You do something not for Westminster City, to do something for your family, cho vào pocket, for your pocket. Tôi lại làm sở bộ đã bầu thị trường tài chính của thị trường kim liệu và ủy viên gia đình đồng chí, bởi vì những người này đã phản bội lại thành phố Westminster, phản bội lại cộng đồng Việt Nam của tôi, phản bội lại cư dân của tôi. Họ đã làm những việc riêng tư cho cá nhân họ, cho gia đình họ. Mẹ tài chính bring communist active Muslim community to honor. That's not right. That's illegal. Thị trường tài chính đã đem một người cộng sản Việt Nam tên là Muslim vào thành phố này để kinh doanh. Đó là điều theo tôi nghĩ là phản pháp. Tại vì cô Ngô Thanh Vân không có làm gì cho city này. Cô là diễn viên của Cộng sản Việt Nam. Cô không làm gì cho city này. Tại sao lại city này đã có người Việt là chống Cộng sản, không quen với Cộng sản ở đây thì ông thị trường lại mang Cộng sản để city để kinh doanh. Đó là điều chúng tôi rất là xấu hổ đã bầu quý. Because you guys do nothing for our Western city. You guys don't have enough ability. You guys don't have enough qualification to handle the job. So, I will remove your guys from now on. Thank you very much.
Nguyễn. Chí Quách. Lập. Thế còn ai muốn phát biểu đâu ạ?
All right, so
I have no additional speakers.
okay, so if we don't have any more speakers, I'd like to close our oral communication. And we really want to thank everyone for being here and raise your concerns, express your input. Really, really appreciate that. And I'd like to ask City Council to move this item, this following item, 4, 6.1, 5.3, and 5.4, because I believe that member of City Council are maybe second and 5.4. The third one, that would be my order. So that would be my motion to move this item forward to the further discussion. 6.1 is oh. All right, so we have a motion and second to move items 6.1, 5.3, and 5.4.
Mayor, to clarify that that's to be considered before the consent calendar? That's to be considered before the consent calendar?
Yes,
yeah, that's before the consent. All right, we have a motion and second on the floor.
That motion carried 5-0 to consider items 6.1, 5.3, and 5.4 prior to the consent calendar.
All right, so our motion will carry, right? All right, so may I ask City Attorney for item 6.1?
Yes, on July 8th, 2019, the City of Westminster received via email a copy of a cease and desist letter from Ms. Jody Boyd. The same letter was received today by the City Clerk in the mail. The letter makes certain allegations that the Brown Act was violated at 2 seminars that were held on June 2nd and July 7th. The 2 gatherings were organized by Councilmember Ho and Mayor Tom, and were designed to help educate the public about the city's EU approval process. Ms. Boyd argues in her letter that the two seminars had not been properly noticed, publicized, and were not sufficiently open to the entire general public. She also said that the majority of the council was present at least one of the meetings, and that only the Vietnamese American community has been informed about the event. The purpose for tonight's agenda is to provide the council with an opportunity to consider a response to that letter, because there's a deadline, a 30-day deadline, and so they need to be able to respond to it prior to the next council meeting on August 14th. The situation is governed by Government Code 490.2, and that section states that individuals are allowed to challenge these kinds of situations in court. But before they're allowed to do that, they're required to submit a cease and desist letter to the city, and that's what's been done here. She submitted a letter. So now that it has occurred, the city has 30 days to respond. It states in 54.960.2C that the city council has the option of responding to the letter by sending what is called an unconditional commitment letter. And the form of the letter is described right in the statute, and that's what I'm presenting for the city council's consideration tonight, that they would adopt an unconditional commitment letter. You have, the council has copies of the draft letter that I prepared on the dais, and the city clerk has copies of it as well. And in the letter, the council acknowledges the receipt of Ms. Boyd's letter and all of the concerns that she's raising. It also goes on to state that the council wants to provide an appropriate assurance to the public, and that they are making a commitment to cease, desist, and not repeat the actions that are alleged in Ms. Boyd's letter. So I would just ask that the council consider that and make a decision whether or not you want to authorize the issuance of an unconditional commitment letter.
All right, so we move that we approve the letter prepared by city attorney.
Okay. Can I have the city attorney read the letter?
Yeah.
For the record, please.
So this is addressed to Jody Boyd regarding the July 8, 2019 demand to cease and desist violations of the Brown Act. Dear Ms. Boyd, the City of Westminster has received your cease and desist letter dated July 8, 2019. In your letter, you assert that the legislative body of the city violated the Ralph M. Brown Act by conducting meetings on June 2nd and July 7th, 2019 that were not properly noticed, publicized, or open to the general public. The council desires to acknowledge your comments and provide appropriate assurances of future action. Therefore, in response to your letter and pursuant to the procedures and requirements of Government Code Section 54.960.2, the city issues the following unconditional commitment. In order to avoid unnecessary litigation, and without admitting that any violation of the Ralph M. Brown Act has occurred, the City Council of the City of Westminster hereby unconditionally commits that it will cease, desist from, and not repeat the challenged past actions described above. The City Council may rescind this commitment, and this language here is right out of the statute, the last paragraph in this part. The City Council may rescind this commitment only by a majority vote of its membership, taken in open session at a regular meeting, and noticed on its posted agenda as rescission of Brown Act commitment. You will be provided with written notice sent by any means or media you provide in response to this message to whatever address or addresses you specify of any intention to consider rescinding this commitment at least 30 days before such regular meeting. In the event that this commitment is rescinded, you will have the right to commence legal action pursuant to subdivision A of section 54.960 of the General Code. That notice will be delivered to you by the same means as this commitment, or may be mailed to an address that you have designated in writing for 2 years, and then it will be signed by the mayor.
City Attorney, before we vote, I'd like to say a few words about the 2 seminars. I don't know when
We have to prove breaking
So before we vote, could I say a few words about the seminars? Or do you want me to speak at another time?
We don't want you to speak.
Yeah.
Excuse me, ma'am.
The mayor.
Okay. First of all, I don't think there was any Brown Act violation as I was accused. But anyway, either way, we're going to vote tonight, but before we vote, I'd like to also let you know the facts, all right? So please listen to the facts. Okay, on June 2nd, seminar, number one, I did not know Councilmember Nguyen was going to show up. I did not expect him, nor did I invite him. I know that seminar was the first of its kind and attracted many people. We did not know we were going to have roughly about 200 people there. In this case, we had a pretty big crowd, and it was crowding up the room, and some people left, and Councilmember could not come through the back door to be in the audience. His intention was to be in the audience. He came about 45 minutes late. As a result, my staff led him to the front, to the door, at the front of the room. If you walk into the door, you're pretty much right at my seat where I was standing up lecturing, which basically my seat was the only seat left in the house. So he sat there, and because I know he looked in the audience, there were no empty seats whatsoever, okay? So like I said, Councilman Nguyen came about 40 minutes late into the meeting, and the whole time while he was there, I was presenting my PowerPoint to the audience. Okay, we did not discuss. If you want to look up what the violation of a Brown Act is, please do so. But the Brown Act was enacted in response to mounting public concerns over informal, undisclosed meetings held by local elected officials. City councils, county boards, and other local government bodies were avoiding public scrutiny by holding secret workshops. This was not a secret workshop, as you alleged, because I did at least twice, please review the online archives of our meetings, and I'm sure you know where to find them. And I did at least twice announce from the dais at the council hearing prior to both events on June 5th and June 10th. It was open to the public, and both English and Vietnamese speaking people came to the event. Please hear that loudly, all right? We did not have a discussion among us three and did not deliberate nor come to a decision on anything. I took the information back to the council the following meeting on June 5th. If you'd like to review the video on June 5th, you will see, okay, what I'm talking about. I know it looks bad that all three are sitting there with the picture that you showed that at the seminar on June 2nd, so I can assure you that I will make sure this does not happen again. As a matter of fact, on July 7th, again, you allege that we violated the Brown Act when only myself, I was the only one at that seminar. So please check your facts before you speak, okay? So, all right, so that's basically, you know, the information given was on a PowerPoint, and there were English, Vietnamese booklets, and we also had the Spanish booklets. We had English, Vietnamese, and Spanish booklets given, about roughly 150 Vietnamese and about 100 English booklets given out. So yes, my seminars were open to all and were announced. So if any of our staff could please do me a favor, pull that, you know, the link to the meeting. I believe that did you or did you not? I think you told me, City Attorney, that you saw and you heard that I announced publicly of those meetings, correct?
Yeah, the meeting that I reviewed was the one on June
2nd.
12th,
Second.
June 12th. So,
No, that was June 2nd.
yeah,
June
it's
2nd.
item 7.3, I remember. Yeah,
June 12th.
Yeah.
June 12th?
Long after you did it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so that's that's the 12th was probably for the following seminar. That was the July 7th seminar. So if you go back, you'll also hear the one that I announced for June 2nd. Okay, thank you very much.
All right, I think we have a motion and a second on the floor. I'd like to call for Question, please?
There is no motion.
Oh.
I ask a question. So did you advertise those seminar on Vietnamese media and just Vietnamese media alone?
We announced here, and our intention to have it one thing at a time. We have the English and Vietnamese. Actually, we only have the English version, and we waited until seminar 2 to disperse the English, Vietnamese, and Spanish version of our booklets as we had promised on June 2nd. So basically, you know, when I spoke, I did initially made the announcement here, right from the dais of the seminar. So there were people who came, and they did pick up the English-speaking booklets. As a matter of fact, the English-speaking ones we were a little bit short of. I told staff, so we owe some people those. So, you know, we did have a good mix, but, you know, as I said, this is very new, and we didn't expect to have such a turnout, and as a matter of fact, it was a subject matter that was so dear to people that we think in the future we may have more. So if you know of a venue, I'd be glad to open more at other
It doesn't matter to me where we go as long as Thank you.
Looking to be conducting ceremony in both languages, Vietnamese and
No, not yet. We basically asked people
we took a consensus, basically. There were no Spanish speaking, okay?
Well, yeah, you know, I totally understand, but I sense that the community is feel that they are not being represented equally. We are, and in the seminar that we conducted, I don't know how many, I haven't seen it, but based upon what was presented during the comment, it seems like the rest of the city doesn't feel that they're being accommodated and provided.
I understand. Yeah, I understand it's really not a training of ADU, it's just informational. And as a matter of fact, to be fair, the other day, I think that if people come to me and they tell me that, if they email me that, I'd be happy to respond. The other day, we actually had a lot of complaints from the Vietnamese group. So they were like people at the mall saying, well, you have this mall watch or a meet and greet by the PD, and I was not really aware of some sort of meet and greets, regarding safety and whatnot, so recently. So I called PD, and I was wondering what kind of meet and greet they had. And so they said, well, they want to have one at the mall here, on Bolsa. So Asian Garden Mall is a pretty big mall, but they didn't get one. So I understand that feeling, but we are, like I said, I'm happy to, and other council members, you are also welcome to help me. But we only got started with this program, just giving information to the public, and myself and Mayor Treetop are on the committee to just to kind of listen to see what people are interested in doing. We did come back with the report 3 days after, so we discussed here from the dais. But as I said, no need in throwing stones. I think it's just what it is if you're interested in having one somewhere, and if you are, if there's an urge to have it soon, you let me know, and I'd be happy to have it in your neck of the woods.
All right. Vice Mayor already explained, so now I'd like to call for question. I have a motion and a second to approve as recommended. Vote, please.
That motion carried 5-0 to approve the unconditional
much. Now we go to item 5.3. Let's see. Item 5.3, 2019 implemented campaign amnesty program. May I have to start the vote?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. The Council directed staff previously to come back and look at the feasibility of establishing an amnesty program. We've done that based on a discussion on the control committee. We determined that a limited amnesty program could work to help to balance the opportunity to promote voluntary code compliance with the need to protect the residents of the community. The obvious building codes and compliance with those codes. So based on what's in the staff report, we've come up with a list of items that we believe would be subject to the amnesty program. Those are things like patio covers, small porches and sheds, and other items which would be more difficult to manage as part of the amnesty program. Would be excluded from that list. The amnesty program would pertain to the fines that are typically assessed when somebody is found to have violated the code. So they would still be subject to, of course, the development standards, building code requirements, but they would not have to pay those additional fines. That answer the question.
Yeah, I really want to thank our city staff for working on this item, because I think this item is really important to a resident who live in our city, because with this program, the resident will have proper permit for their building, and anything happens in their construction. So I think this is a really good program. I'd like to move this as recommended.
Can I ask a question?
Please.
If I read it correctly, it says the type of unpermitted improvement that is excluded from the amnesty program, include ADU, is that correct?
That is correct. And the challenge with those types of structures is those are considered habitable space where people are living, where people are dwelling, spending the night. There's a higher life safety issue with those type of structures. And the other kind of practical issue with that is that in order to inspect those structures, you have to dismantle portions of those structures. You almost have to demolish them to look at the foundation and the walls and so forth. So those type of structures would really be appropriate in our view as part of the amnesty program.
If we approve this, there's no amnesty in the ADU at all?
Correct.
No.
Yeah, if it's approved, it's fine.
One question. I do remember we had a discussion about the amnesty program, and we narrowed it down to just the porch, the backyard, with patios and such. So so we did have that discussion in public. I do remember that, and I do remember my concern about giving people basically the ability to just go out and do what they want to do, and we're going to forgive them. But I think this is clear that it's not sort of 80 units or extra room. This is just simply a shed or a patio cover, which those are everywhere. People do that, and it does spell out. And so basically, just from my understanding, if I move into a new residence and they have this patio, and now it's me, I can go tell on myself, and then I have 90 days from the time I tell on myself before this code enforcement comes back out and gives me a fine.
Well, if the council chooses to adopt the amnesty program, there would be no fine in that situation, but you would still be required to pay for the building permit, plan check fee, and you have to comply with the code.
Oh, or I have to tear it down?
Yes, absolutely.
And then, so I'm following. The other question I had though was, if, for example, after the 90 days I still choose to do nothing, what happens then?
Well, we can set up the program where after 90 days the amnesty expires, and then code enforcement can come after. Code enforcement will have to decide when the building inspector says your amnesty is expired, we're now subject to the fines.
But that's not in the code now, right?
No, this is just this program is kind of in a draft form.
Okay, can we include that, like for the teeth, or like after 90 days, if the person does not comply, is there a point where we, like how do we hold them accountable after 90 days?
I think isn't it automatically, it's understood that once they're given, once they are outside of that period, the amnesty period, they will go back to a fine.
Okay, so I guess that needs to be spelled out, 'cause it's not on here.
Isn't that correct though?
If that's the desire of the.
So basically, the time of fair is 90 days, right?
Yes, you can stipulate that if you want that.
I am comfortable with that.
Yeah, so after 90 days, then you would get served a fine, right? If you already forgave them for the 90 days, at some point we have to say, okay, you gotta do it or else, because otherwise.
Well, the whole program is to, encourage them to fix so that we be safer. And, but if they're afraid to come out and get all these fines, then it means it's something for them to have to decide if they want to fix. Then they most likely will look into the program and see how much it costs, et cetera, and then they'll fix. So I believe people who want to go through the amnesty program probably already know that they want to fix. They want to get it fixed and they just want to not have to incur the fines. And so I'm fine with putting it, spelling it out clearly, because I know after talking to you, that it goes back, after that period of amnesty, it goes back to a regular, everyday fine, not to code, correct?
All right, so I'd like to modify my motion that I'd like to search for 90 days. So basically, the motion that everyone in our city have 90 days to get anything like illegal bill, permit, get fixed within 90 days.
I want to be clear on all of this. So the way it's written right now, the amnesty is 30 days.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's 30 days to turn yourself in, 90 days to fix the problem.
Okay.
So are we suggesting that?
Okay, no, I want to stick to the original, it's 30
Yes.
days, but I'm just saying there needs to be a point where, hey, we're not doing it, we gotta handle it.
And the intent as written is a 30-day amnesty for self-reporting, and then 90 days to cure, and then we just go back to the code as written, and the amnesty is over.
That's right, I want to make sure that's in there, 'cause I didn't see that.
That is okay.
And if I could clarify too, it begins on October 1st.
Yeah, but the reason that it
Not now.
correct. And the reason it begins on October, is it 12th? Is because we figured that there should be a time to advertise the program, so people are aware.
I think it's an incentive to get people that have been living under these situations to fix it, or else. So you got 30 days to basically come to City Hall, employee permits, 90 days to correct it. If you do not, then you face the fine and you go through the normal process. Okay, clear.
I have a concern, I'd like to mention that. It's very clear to me right here that we have unlimited, unpermitted, and, include and exclude from MSC program. And I saw that the improvements that permitted, for amnesty program is just, the patio. I'm not trying to promote people, doing this, but those people who already have those already built, and we exclude them from the amnesty program, is that, what is the amnesty program for? Just for the minor, I'm not saying minor, but it's patio and first garage conversion unit. If we don't let them come forward and talk about it, I'm afraid that, they still keep it the same way, but, they're not going to tell you, because you are not going to have that amnesty program for them. So what do you think about it?
Yes, thank you, Councilor. The challenge with those type of improvements, unpermitted improvements, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, is that one is that there are life safety issues of a little bit higher magnitude than, say, a patio cover, and there's a higher potential for electrical fires or other things that could occur, since obviously those structures are not permitted. So the challenge is really, from a public safety standpoint, would want to act on those quickly. But the other probably more practical issue is that if we're aware of one of those structures, we almost have to demolish it to find out what's wrong with it, which is kind of ironic, because if you want to permit something that's not permitted, like a ADU, you have to take it apart to find out if it's compliant with the code. That means removing the walls, removing part of the foundation, the roof, and so forth. There's no other way to know if it's in compliance. So it becomes kind of sort of self-defeating.
Yeah, I understand that, there's a risk to it, but why don't we give them the amnesty program, the same thing as 30 days for them to identify or come to us for help? Instead of, excluded from them, and then they're afraid to come talking to us. And then the problem still exists to continue.
I think I hear you, but I think the concern there is that
I would like to have the same, amnesty for.
right, but I guess my concern from the initial, when this first came forward, was incentivizing people just to build whatever they want, and then we'll go back and we'll forgive them, or we'll give them the time to go through the process. Whereas when I first heard that this brought forward from Vice Mayor Ho was a concern with things like patio covers, things that are really kind of not as heavy duty as would be an entire room, a garage conversion, an actual ADU. That's people really need to know that they can't do that, period, because that requires a review process. Versus the patio thing, I kind of understand, because you're in the backyard, like, I'll just put some walls up around this patio and I can make it into a family room.
I hear you loud and clear, but what I'm saying is, if we are doing the amnesty program, why don't we grant them the chance to 30 days, the same thing, so that they can come forward and identify the problems and we help them to fix it.
If I could just ask Steve a question, and I wasn't here for the last deliberations, so if there's a legal problem, please, someone just stop me, but we're really right now talking about 30 days of amnesty for the fine and the fine only, right? So, to Councilmember Wynn's point, if we want to encourage self-compliance with all building code violations, if we did a 30-day amnesty on just the fine for some of these larger pieces of construction, I'm not seeing why that's a real problem. However, I do acknowledge that a lot of those are going to have some pretty heavyweight repairs that need to be made, probably not done in 90 days either. So we're going to have some different kind of language for that type of program. But I could see if the council wanted to just waive the fine portion for 30 days only for some of those larger projects. I don't really see an issue with it. But again, I don't want to step on toes of prior conversations and prior intent. I just want to clarify. It would really just be 30 days on the fine and the fine alone. If someone comes in and says, hey, I have an ADU that's unpermitted, they're going to have to fix it. They're just not going to get slapped with a fine for the first 30 days. So just food for thought. If the intent also is for this program to start in October, and we need to go back to the drawing board and maybe consider some of the larger projects, we can certainly take a look at that and bring it back in August. But I'm just throwing a couple of ideas out there.
I think, is there any way we could go ahead and approve it and then we could amend later? And, because I think some of the people might want to get going with the amnesty program, and if we amend it, if we could do some study on that, and I think that would be great if we could look into legalize the ADUs, or what I mean is that they need to, living quarters are very important to make sure they're safe. So, more important than the patio covers, I think, so I think we know those are the problems right now that's occurring. So if we can go ahead and move on with this program, we can amend.
Could we, and again, this really would be up to one of the council members here to make a motion, but one solution for this issue right now could be, as Councilwoman Ho suggested, approve the item as submitted right now to get staff started on the amnesty program for the smaller projects. We could come back in August with a proposal for a form of an amnesty program for the larger scale projects and consider that separately if that's the desire of council.
Yeah, it's like staff time to figure out.
Yeah. Yeah, so I would make a motion to approve this,
I think you need to make a substitute motion.
substitute, there was already one. A substitute motion to approve item 5.4. Is that 5.4? Okay, 5.3. And then in August, if staff could come back and look into a program for larger projects such as ADU.
Is that enough time, Steve? I don't want to put you on the spot.
I think that is time. I think we can come back on this.
Okay.
Thank you.
I second your substitute motion. Have motion and second on the floor.
Motion carried 5-0 to approve the 2018 Get It Permitted Campaign and Amnesty Program and direct staff to return at the August 14th council meeting regarding a program for larger projects.
All right, thank you. Next item, 5.4, development of Federal City of Westminster, we approve accessory dwelling unit, ADU, standardized construction plan and zoning, submittal checklist.
Thank you, Mayor. Council, this also stems from the same June 12th meeting. The staff was directed to look into creating some type of standardized process for ADU review and approval. And we've done that, and based on our findings, we believe we can come up with a standardized process that will help not only the residents, but designers, contractors, and others understand the process, with the objectives being to provide the entire community, that includes homeowners, contractors, so forth, very clear instructions on how to apply for an ADU, how to provide the plans, and how to go through the approval process. It would also include sample construction details such as roof framing and reference to all the building and energy code requirements that any type of structure is subject to. This would be something that we would create over the next few weeks with the idea that being sometime at the end of summer or fall, we have something ready for the community that they can both download off of the website, or they can also obtain a copy from City Hall.
All right, any additional
I do think that with the recommendation for the staff, I think this is greatly assist the residents as well as reduce the time for the homeowner to spend preparing drawings. So my motion is to approve.
Second.
I have just a comment. Just for the record, just so people, I think there was, I don't know if there's a misunderstanding, but ADUs are not new to Westminster. We've had them, we've allowed them, but now we're standardizing the process to make it easier for people to understand, so they're able to build their own ADU unit without going back and forth to City Hall like 20, 30 times. Standardized unit, a process, a look, feel, so on and so forth. So we're not doing anything new, we're just we're creating a standardized process, just for clarity, because the state of California passed the law to allow for more accessibility. I don't know if people think we just created it today.
No.
No, they know that. And here's the thing, is that I've been working very closely with staff. And first of all, my plan and my agenda is to streamline the whole process of construction. So the permitting process. So when I was going to work with, thinking that I'm going to work with developers. As myself, I've had the background developing real estate. And so, initially I was thinking that I'm going to work with developers, and then all of a sudden I had a lot of questions. From one of my TV shows, I was a guest on a show, and somebody called and asked a question. So then I got more and more questions regarding building ADUs, and then there were more questions after that. So really, I'm just kind of giving the service to, or shall I say, give information to people who need them. So one of the builders that I need to appease, or I need to talk to, are the homeowners. So I realize that the homeowners need information too, because they were seeking to build ADUs. Some of them, many of them were not successful. They lost their money, contractors walk away with their money, and then the process was too difficult for them to understand, or maybe even their contractors that they hired did not understand the process. So it just a very, shall I say, it just really opened up a whole different avenue for me. And so I felt that it would do a service to our residents if I look more into that. So at this time, I want to thank our staff, our planning director, Steve Radke, and Chris Wong, and his staff for working so closely with me, and the building director, acting building director, Justin Nguyen. And so I know that safety is the #1 issue. So we want to make sure we work with good designs, safety, so that our ADUs don't fall apart. And to answer or to comment on Councilman Sergio Contreras' comment, no, this is not new to our city, but according to staff, we build maybe, we have about one application a week, ADU, one ADU application. And imagine, as you know, that I know when I came on the council in 2016, so about 2017, we started talking about ADU and passing and adopting the ordinance. And so that is true, that is nothing new. However, many other cities, the surrounding cities, such as Garden Grove, build a lot more, a heck of a lot more. And so what it is what interests me is to make sure we have, we solve affordable housing crisis that we now are facing. So where is this going to come from? So it's going to come, a lot of it's going to come from ADUs. So so I took a big interest in it because I think it's really a win-win-win for all. So our residents will win because they are going to pay, as you heard, a lot of them express themselves that they pay a lot less. And #2 would be a win for our city because now we've got affordable housing. And #3 would be, hey, we've got construction that I've heard from staff, I've heard from some developers who wanted me to, like they were blaming on our staff, and so I was kind of a go-between. And I find that a lot of people did not know the code, so the ADU code. So that's why we started looking into getting ADU certified, getting them certified, but I don't think we've talked about that yet. But I think that if we have those model ADUs, it's like model homes. Like you go and buy a model home, you don't think about, oh, is this going to be safe? Is this going to be, how am I going to design it? So you don't, you take all the guesswork of the design process and the construction process out. So it's very fun and intriguing and exciting for me to help the residents, with their concerns about building ADUs. So I'm glad that I was given the opportunity to look into streamlining the whole permitting process. So of course, I also talk to contractors, but one thing at a time. I'm only one person, and if any of the council members want to help, I'm welcome to. But I do have a background in construction, design, and build, so that's why it became just, it's very intriguing and exciting for me. So I think, building the model ADUs is going to really help solve our housing crisis, and it really fits the bill for our residents. And so that's why we're here. We're here, from 7 until now to speak on ADUs so passionately.
All right, if we don't have any questions or concerns, I'd like to call for question. We have a motion to second on the floor.
We do?
Yes, we do. Oh, please.
That motion carried 5-0 to direct staff to develop a set of approved accessory dwelling unit standardized construction plans and zoning submittal checklists.
Can I just request the city manager or staff if we can, once the final design is completed, we're going to have to look at that before we finally sign off on it, correct? Like the actual streamlined process, right? I just don't want it to look like a box with windows. I want to make sure it's got
That would
design.
be my request for staff. We've got to be involved in the design of it, correct?
Yeah, I'm not sure that was actually clear in the report, but I don't know if we need to amend the motion, but if we want to bring the sample plans back to council for final approval before we, accept them as valid, that would certainly make sense.
Do we have to amend the motion, or can we just put that?
I'll defer to Christian on this one. Do you think the current report is specific enough, that the motion is specific enough for us to come back with the plan?
Specific enough that it needs to come back with designs and the council will approve it.
Okay.
This is just merely direction to go get this created, but it's going to come back to the council for review.
All right, perfect.
All right, thank you so much. So item amnesty program, and maybe you already approved. Next, we have consent calendar, or matter listed under the consent calendar are considered routine and may be approved by single motion followed by roll call vote. There will be no separate discussion of this item unless member of the city council or staff request a specific item be removed from the consent calendar for separate action or discussion.
Move to approve. Second.
The motion is second to approve the consent calendar. Vote please.
That motion carried 5-0 to approve the consent calendar.
All right, next we have regular business, item 5.1, approval of snake session agreement. Any question on that? I think this is a good item. Second. We have a motion second to approve item 5.1. As recommended.
That motion carried 5-0 to approve an agreement between the City of Westminster and District 62 Challenger Division Little League for use of the snack bar facility located at Westminster Park, and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement.
Item 5.2, joining the Orange County Housing Finance Trust to George Powell Authority Agreement. I think this is a really excellent item. It's an opportunity for our city to work with other agencies to come up with a good solution. This is outstanding item. Will you approve? Yeah. Oh, please.
That motion carried 5-0 to adopt a resolution entitled, "A Resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Westminster relating to the joint exercise of powers for and membership in the Orange County Housing Finance Trust, thereby joining the joint powers authority with the County of Orange."
Next item, 5.6, update on Mendes Freedom Trail and Mendes Tribute Memorial Park. Anything from staff report, but excellent item. Will you approve? Second? 5.6.
Yes, 5.6 is the item.
Yeah. You move as recommended. Oh, please.
And that motion carried 5-0 to adopt a resolution entitled, "A Resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Westminster approving the application for statewide park development and community revitalization program grant funds, and authorize the city manager to execute any and all documents needed in order to facilitate the construction of the park."
Item 5.7, resolution adopting new and revised position classification in administrative management and confidential series. Move to approve. Call please.
That motion carried 5-0 to adopt a resolution entitled, "A Resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Westminster adopting new and revised position classifications in the Administrative Management Confidential Series."
Next, commission and committee item, 7.1, request for parking restriction on the south side Post Avenue between Hoover Street and City Limit
5.8, the urgency item.
5.8, oh, I'm sorry. That's an urgency item, really sorry. Yes. This is an urgency item that we already approved to bring it up on our agenda. Application for rent fund from Westminster Family Resource Center and designation of city manager to act as local rights representative. I move to approve. This is a really important item.
Second.
Vote please.
That motion carried 5-0 to adopt a resolution entitled, "A Resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Westminster to apply as lead agency for grant funds for the Westminster Family Resource Center and designating the city manager to act as authorized representative."
Next, 7.1, request for parking restriction on South Side Rose Avenue between Google Street and city limit with the current Orange Island to the east.
I want to add, I know a lot of people covered on this item, so I'm glad that the work was done, and we have, I think, a solution for now until the next location they find to talk at in between. I mean, this is fantastic, so we'll just move that a second.
That motion carried 5-0 to adopt a resolution entitled, "A Resolution of the Mayor of Westminster providing for no parking or stopping at a certain location on the south side of Bolsa Avenue between Hoover Street and west of the East City County limit."
Next item, 7.2, request to receive loading and unloading zone and installation of time parking restriction on the south side of 15th Street, east of All American Way.
Move to approve.
Second. I'm going to make sure that I leave more than 1,000 feet or 500 feet, right? Next time.
No, you're fine.
I'm fine, okay. So, a motion second to approve.
Are they sure this time it's so far?
Yeah. I know they changed their mind.
All right. Vice Mayor, roll.
That motion carried 5-0 to adopt a resolution entitled, "A Resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Westminster repealing resolution number 4878, which provided for the installation of a passenger loading unloading zone on the south side of 15th Street, east of All American Way, and approving the installation of 24-minute time parking on the south side of 15th Street, east of All American Way.
All right. Next we have comment from City Council agency member, including A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, with 425. Councilmember Flores, anything to say?
Just thank you for the presentation today on the Mendes project. Glad to see we're moving forward, and soon, someday we'll have it complete.
Thank you, Councilmember Bell.
Is this where we making a request to have item on the placing on the agenda? Okay, well, I got a couple of issues I need to, I'd like to make a motion to address the possibility of adopting the rent stabilization for the mobile home park residents. I mean, I have a chance to meet with them a couple weeks ago, and I'd like to put on the agenda so that we, the staff, can conduct a study to see if it's feasible to have a ordinance that have the rent stabilization.
All right, there's the request of Councilmember Bell to raise that item for the next council meeting. So may I have a second?
Second.
Okay. And then we have to vote to raise that, okay?
That motion carried 5-0 to consider a rent stabilization.
No, that is like the item for study first, yeah.
Yes, to place.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay.
So just to be clear, this is a request to put it, this is a request to put it on the next agenda, so there won't be a staff report for it. You'll have to approve it at the next meeting.
discuss, and then we may come up with, any other direction in future.
Thưa với quý vị là hiện giờ không có còn cái gì mà nó còn hấp dẫn nữa, nhưng mà điều mà chúng tôi thấy được lâu nay là tất cả mọi người ở trong hội đồng thành phố đều cười, không có đấu đá lẫn nhau nữa trong những giây phút cuối này. Và hiện nay chúng tôi chuẩn bị kết thúc cái chương trình truyền hình trực tiếp. Xin cảm ơn quý vị đã theo dõi.